Hello everyone, my name is Maya Brooks, Mellon Foundation Assistant Curator at the North Carolina Museum of Art. Although I live and work in North Carolina, I'm actually originally from right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and my object comes from my grandmother, Miss Mamie Brooks King, who hailed from Atlanta too. My father always says my grandmother would be so proud of me for becoming a curator because she was a collector in her own right. She would frequent various markets and antique stores around the city to find items. Her favorite mediums were glass, ceramic, and wood. And so growing up, we used to visit her house, and every time there would be a new collection of items in this large china cabinet she had in the living room. And I was always enamored by my grandmother's eye for certain pieces. You know, she knew what she liked, but there's, of course, this deeper meaning to her collection and what these craft items meant for her. So with me today, I have this pair of vintage ebony wood busts, also known as Kenyan Besmo figurines. And so they're usually sold as a female and male pair of items. Some sellers will emphasize the kingdom or nation that the piece originates from to increase its value. For instance, some sellers will say this is a traditional Kenyan object, it's genuine, or this object is from the Maasai people of Kenya, you must have it. However, they're actually a form of African tourist art that uses generic forms in carvings. And so, tourist art is a type of product that allows craft people across the continent to produce quote unquote popular art forms for Western markets. And textiles and sculptures are some of the prime examples of this. From the start, these types of objects perpetuated the exotification and decontextualization of African art. Overall, it created an industry that allowed African artists to develop new production methods and craft forms that specifically catered to Western audiences. And so, tourist art became popularized during the post colonial era in Africa during the 1960s. And this time period coincided with African American Black expressionist movements in the United States that emphasized Black power, Pan Africanism, and reconnecting with one's African heritage. Therefore, these kinds of carved statues became this kind of fashionable aesthetic piece in African American homes, especially later on during the 1970s. And so this is kind of where it gets interesting for me. Although we're not Kenyan, objects like the Besmo figurines, along with some of the other African-esque items my grandmother collected, represented a heritage that she could connect to. Like so many others during my grandmother's time, she wanted to establish her identity as a Black woman, and she did that through artistic representation. So I think this is a part of understanding crafts art. We can associate these pieces with a specific culture, a time period, or a way of living that resonates with us. And it's honestly a thought provoking area of study. So thank you all so much for allowing me to share my story.